Jamal Hill and Khalil Roundtree don't really scream Azerbaijan, but they will be headlining the Baku Azerbaijan Fight Night card June 21st, and this is the official poster. Hill's coming off a couple losses to Prohajka and Pereira. Pereira also beat Roundtree in his last fight. They had most of the cards set up now. The co-main event is Rafael Fiziev with his home nation behind him, taking on Ignacio Bahamondes. Tagir Ulanbekov was supposed to fight Horiguchi, but Horiguchi is out, and Azat Maxim is in to take on Ulanbekov. Nazim Sadahov in his birth city of Baku taking on Nicholas Mota. Mohamed Naimov taking on Bogdan Grad. In the heavyweight division, Curtis Blades taking on Rizwan Kuniev. Kuniev looking to break into the top 5 in his UFC debut. Alik Seva versus Saigala. Melissa Mullins versus Daria Zhelezhnakova. And Hamdi Abdul Wahab versus Mohamed Usman. Vinicius Oliveira at UFC 318. That's July 19th in Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana. Phillips is number 12 in the bantamweight division. Vinicius Oliveira is ranked number 15. Should be a good striking fight. Also added to the UFC 318 card is Jimmy Crute versus Marcin Prachnio. 9 fights confirmed so far. You got the main event, Holloway Poirier. You also have Vittori versus Allen on the main card. They have 7 prelims so far. Hebas, Ricci, Magny, Nelson, Phillips, Oliveira, Fugit Dulatov, Crute Prachnio, Alaskarov, Ferreira, and Judas Cagliari. So they have to add 3 more fights to the main card. Right now, they only have Holloway, Poirier, Vittori, Allen. This YouTuber says it's impossible for him to see Khabib again for the simple fact that he thinks I'm gay. Khabib thinks I'm a homosexual, that I like men. It's because he did a video where he pretends to kiss a guy. The joke is that instead of kissing the girl, I kissed the guy. But obviously, I don't actually kiss him. It's a meme. Khabib saw that video. He had a hard time keeping eye contact with me. He couldn't look at me because he thought I was gay. So Khabib's manager told this guy's manager, I'm asking you, please don't bring me homosexuals again. If Pereira and Prohajka can't fight Ankalaev at the moment, some people think Carlos Ulberg should step in and fight him. With Ulberg ranked 3 and an impressive win streak, Josh Thompson thinks that he's the most viable option for Ankalaev's first title defense. Ulberg's coming off that win over Jan Blachowicz at UFC London. Thompson thinks that Ulberg's striking could bring some excitement to that fight with Ankalaev. So we'll see what happens. If Prohajka and Pereira are out, maybe it's Ulberg versus Ankalaev this summer. Nate Diaz ended up leaving this reality show. There's just too many brawls and fights, and that show is just non-stop chaos. Him and his teammate and friend Jake Shields ended up leaving and going to a hotel.
But it was just chaos. There kept almost being fights, people getting smacked. It was just too much. So we started bouncing. They were trying to say we couldn't leave. We're just like, nah, we're going to leave. And started walking up the street. They weren't going to drive us at first, leave anyways. Eventually, the driver started driving us away. We're getting out of here, going to a hotel. So they load us up. At one point, they stopped, trying not to let us go again. Some people came, but we're just like, nah, we're getting the f*** out of here. They drove us to a hotel. At that point, we spent 3 days right in Patong, the main beach, hanging out. Everyone knew where we were. That's why it's funny. I see some fighter saying he was looking for us, the guy we smacked a few times, saying he was looking for us. He knew exactly where we were. The drivers dropped us off at the hotel. Everyone in Patong saw him there. He's like, oh, if you see Nate, text me telling people. It's like, bitch, you know where we are. The guy is just chasing clout for a TV show. This is the same guy that always runs up behind people and chokes them. But, yeah, we just had to chat around a couple of days, and then we're like, we're not doing the show, they were trying to renegotiate something, but it's like, why are we going to go back and film a show when we're constantly being, we could be, it's one thing fighting the fighters, which that's why I went out there with Nate. I thought it was a possibility some of these fighters would try to test them. But when you have potentially the crew, hitting you too, it's like, nah, fuck that.
Sean O'Malley doing some training with Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson ahead of his fight at UFC 316 June 7th against Marab. The UFC is set to return to Shanghai on August 23rd for UFC Fight Night 259, marking its first event in mainland China since 2017. The event's going to take place at the Shanghai Indoor Stadium. Full fight card is yet to be announced, but a light heavyweight contest between Johnny Walker and Zhang Mingyang is expected to be the main event. In addition to this, one day before, on the Friday, Road to UFC Season 4 semifinals will take place also in Shanghai. Jack Della Maddalena thinks Makhachev is just a better version of Bilal. Not necessarily in the striking, but in the wrestling and grappling. He is getting ready mentally and physically for that fight. No date set yet, but he's getting ready.
I think he's like Makhachev is a better version of Bilal. I think his striking on the feet is the striking on the feet. I think it's an easier easier than Bilal because he'll stay in one stance. He's more traditional style. But yeah, he's the pound for pound number one. So it's a tough fight. But I guess we'll just watch all these fights again, make a solid game plan, and then just start working at it. From pretty much now, I'm going to start working on ways to beat him, different ways to get back to my feet, stuff in the takedown. But I'm pretty confident I can get this one done.
So Volkanovski's obviously fought him before.
Yep.
Will you pick Volk's brain?
Yeah, 100%. I definitely plan. After the last two fights, I've spent a bit of time in Wollongong. So yeah, I think probably the first stop. We go to Wollongong, talk to Volk, see what he reckons.
Melky Costa would like to fight Josh Emmett next. Josh Emmett, I'm a big fan of your fighting style. You're an animal. I invite you to come fight with me here in Brazil. Yeah, sure, book it. Why not? UFC Hall of Famer Pat Miletich began a 30-day sentence in the Scott County, Iowa jail stemming from a 2023 conviction for operating while intoxicated. OWI. This is his third OWI offense, and prior incidents were in 2018 and 2020. The 2023 arrest involved Miletich driving on the wrong side of the road and eventually falling asleep at a gas station parking lot while his vehicle was still running. He pled guilty in April of this year and then was sentenced to 2 years of probation, with 30-day jail being a mandatory minimum for a third offense. Myron Santos says it's crazy to think the only scratch I got from the fight with Sadiq Youssef was made by his hair. Santos picked up a unanimous decision victory in that fight, improving his record to 16-1. Tom Aspinall says it's wearing on him mentally, just waiting around for the John Jones fight. Besides it being a big fight, it's really the only big fight that the UFC can do in the heavyweight division. There's nothing really interesting at the top other than that. If they don't do Jones versus Aspinall, they'll probably have to go with Aspinall versus Gane.
Now, I've been almost a year inactive with no prospect of anything apart from weight.
Yeah.
So now is actually a little bit more of a tricky time for me mentally than it was then, and that's kind of difficult, like mentally, to be like, but this is the fight against John Jones. Like, not the fight is another thing.
Yeah.
This is the tricky bit where I really have to stay switched on, stay motivated, and I'm trying my best. I'm trying. It's tough sometimes, especially. But you know what? Again, I'm really lucky with the team and stuff. Is that we're in a spot now where guys come to me when they've got a fight coming up.
Yeah.
So like they're in training camp because we have international guys coming as well.
Yeah.
We have like a couple of Croatian guys. We have a couple of guys coming from all different places. And they're coming to me when they're in training camp, and I'm like, look, if I ain't on the ball, they're gonna kick my ass.
Yeah,
like,
gotcha. So you're getting different looks. You're staying fresh.
Yeah. So like I obviously don't want to be getting beat up in the gym all the time. So like I've got to stay on the ball in the gym, even though I've not got to fight myself, which is again a huge advantage that I've got.